Hello everyone, I'm Chris McIntosh. I help teach the statistics courses. I wanted to give you an overview of NERS 6671 Statistics for Evidence-Based Practice. We will use two main textbooks in this course. The first one is by an author named Hevey called Statistics for Nursing, a Practical Approach, 4th edition. This text does a good job of discussing how statistical concepts are applied in nursing. We will use the lectures provided by Hevey in this course. However, she tells students to complete end of chapter exercises at the end of each lecture. Completing those exercises will not be required in this course, but there are some good questions. Feel free to look them over if you feel like you need extra practice. That's a text you need to purchase. The other textbook is by some authors named Navarro and Foxcroft, Learning Statistics with Jamovi, a tutorial for beginners in statistical analysis. That is available free online, and there are links on the pages. And this text provides somewhat better statistical explanations. If there's any confusion regarding statistical concepts between the two texts, rely on the explanations provided by Navarro and Foxcroft. Course topics can be seen on the modules page. I always navigate my courses from the modules page, so it's probably easiest to use this course from there. The foundation concepts necessary to conduct and interpret statistical analysis will be covered in weeks 1 through 5. We'll be talking about levels of measurement, descriptive statistics, measurement and sampling, null hypothesis significance testing, sample size, effect size, and power. And then statistical tests used for inference will be covered in weeks 7 through 15. Chi-square test of independence, independent t-test, paired t-test, one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA, Pearson correlation, linear regression, and logistic regression. And then the last week we'll look at some common public health measures. The main page for each module is structured the same. There's a module description section, a module learning outcomes section, faculty lecture and slides, the Hevey lectures. We will use these lectures provided by Hevey in this course. However, you don't need to complete the end of chapter exercises as she directs at the end of each of her lectures. Supplemental lectures from me will be available to emphasize certain topics or cover something not touched on by Hevey. There's a readings and resource section, which will list your reading from the Hevey text and the Navarro text. Some of the Navarro text readings are optional, but give them a skim. I do not do quizzes and tests based off of the optional readings, just so you're not too worried about that. There's an assignment section, and most weeks will cover very similar assignments. There's a practice quiz, which is not graded, a which statistical test table that you will see and just update each week. Some weeks there's nothing to update, and it'll be very clear which weeks there is and there isn't. Excuse me, a statistical analysis checklist that you'll update weekly, a computer assignment, and there'll be some questions to answer in Canvas based on the computer assignment, and then a file upload in Canvas, and then a graded quiz. And then a think ahead section will keep you lined up with what's coming up. The purpose of course assignments is to reinforce concepts. So the practice quiz is not graded. It's things that I thought were important concepts from the reading. It's good preparation for the graded quiz. Most weeks you're going to update the which statistical test table, and you're going to put new material into context so you can kind of see how it fits in with the grand scheme of what we're learning this semester. And there's pretty much an example that you will just copy. Update analysis checklist most weeks. This will take the concepts and put them into an analysis pattern that you can follow. And pretty much you're just going to copy what you see in the checklist. A weekly computer assignment to see how the concepts are used in the real world, and to have a resource you can go back to when you want to remember how to do something. Some weeks there'll be a research application article. There are discussions for questions. These are ungraded and optional, but if you get stuck somewhere, that's the place to post a question and get help with it. A graded quiz will be done weekly, and we got to evaluate the course somehow. There is some optional material in some weeks. Focus on the required material first. Quizzes are not based on optional material, and those are there for people that want to dig a bit deeper on certain topics. So the checklists reorganize information from readings to apply more directly to analysis. The readings convey information helpful for understanding statistics, but sometimes it takes some work to see how the information applies to an analysis situation. As we discuss topics throughout the semester, we're going to incorporate information from those topics into a checklist that we can use to understand and analyze data. And this is an example of the beginning of this checklist. I always divide this information into 3 sections. Section number 1 is getting the big picture of a study. Section number 2 is looking at a data set, and we call that data screening and data cleaning, to understand things before you ever do an analysis. And then section number 3 is individual test information. When you're running specific analyses, you might run more than one. You're going to complete the questions in that section for each test that you run. And you should update the test table and the analysis checklist before doing the computer assignment, because those are used during the computer assignment, and it's going to help make the computer assignments make more sense for you. The computer assignments are completely guided and reinforce concepts. They're intended to help get you comfortable working with data. We'll start out the first couple weeks with Excel. It's a great general purpose tool, and we're going to learn how to set up a data set in Excel and do some a little bit of exploration in a data set using an Excel pivot table. We'll do statistics with an easy-to-use statistical package called Jamovi. There are a lot of options for statistical software. Why do I teach with Jamovi? It's freely available. It's pretty easy to use. It has everything needed for many statistical analyses, and there are some great free learning resources available with that software. All computer assignments will have a video to follow, and then attempt the computer assignment and practice quiz early in the week so you have time to post questions on the discussion board and can receive help. Don't leave them to the last minute. So there's something called Miller's Pyramid of developing clinical competence, and I like this hierarchy. It starts at the base with something, and then you move up and you know how to do something, and then you're able to show something, and then you're able to do something. And that's pretty much the rationale behind these computer assignments, and just getting comfortable with working with data is it's a matter of just some practice and repetition and getting more comfortable doing it. And my hope is by the end of this course, you're going to feel pretty comfortable opening up a data set and getting some information out that you want to get. So the weekly discussion boards are the place to get help. They're not graded, they're not required, they're available from the modules page, and this is the description that I've put on these discussions. This is the place to ask questions about the course or the course material for the week. The discussion is not graded. Chances are, if you have a question about something, someone else has the same question. The question board is the place to ask it. If you have a question, skim the question board. If it has already been answered, it may have already been answered. If not, then post. If you know the answer to someone else's question, feel free to post the answer. Working together is a great way to learn statistics. So screenshots are always helpful. It makes it easier to provide more information. Practice quizzes, any questions on the practice quizzes, feel free to post the whole question, and feel free to give answers there. Anything on the computer assignments, feel free to post questions. And then be sure to be specific about which quiz or assignment you're talking about, so I don't have to go searching. There's a lot of assignments, and so it just makes it easier to find exactly what you're looking for. I do suggest following this order when completing work for each week. First, on the assignments, we have a practice quiz. Before you even do any reading or anything, I would just go do the practice quiz. It's only a few questions, and it kind of gives you an idea of the kind of things that you should be looking for when you're doing the reading. So that's a great place to start, and then it will kind of tip you off as you're doing the reading. It's not graded, it doesn't penalize you, so that's a great place to start. Then update the which statistical test table for the week if that needs to be done. Update the statistical analysis checklist. And then tackle the computer assignment. Then there's questions to answer on Canvas and a file upload. And then last of all, do the graded quiz. Yeah, that's what I suggest, but tackle it how you want. And then I have included some links to some videos based on a book that I ran across a couple of years ago called Learn Like a Pro. And the book's called Learn Like a Pro, Science-Based Tools to Become Better at Anything by Oakley and Shu. And they had a book, and then I found that they made some short videos, and they had split them up into 3 sections of videos. I gave you the links here. But practice the concepts that I use to kind of help me design these assignments are based on some of their concepts. So practice retrieving information is the best way to get it into long-term memory. So, doing that, thinking to yourself, how do I do this or that? Running that over in your mind is one of the best ways to help you get better at things. Practice quizzes are my intention with those practice quizzes. Repetition over time with rest periods in between helps strengthen neural links, and you'll see that in that other group of videos. And the textbooks reinforce each other, and activities are designed to reinforce the concepts in the textbooks. So when you're going to notice that Navarro and Heavey do not have the exact same take on statistics, and that's a good thing. Every source teaches you some other concepts, so they should work well together, I think. And I think that's all I had for you guys in this overview. I look forward to working with you this semester, and I'm excited to learn statistics together.